Coming up this half hour, we'll show you how they got that juice up to Lawson's in 40 hours. From Hallie's 7th floor, we'll be looking for you to turn the key with Mr. Jingling. We'll show you the making of that holiday classic movie, The Christmas Story, shot on location in Cleveland 30 years ago. Plus the parades, the department store window displays, and the lighting ceremonies. It's a nostalgic look back to the Christmases of Cleveland past, going back to the 50s. All that and more coming up next on Video Vault 5. Welcome to the holiday edition of Cleveland Video Vault 5, brought to you by 650 Gold. I'm Leon Bibb, and with me is longtime News Channel 5 videographer Tom Livingston. During the next 30 minutes, we're going to go back in time and look at some vintage holiday clips from News Channel 5 programming, personalities, and news stories.
These are just a few of the clips that I've been posting on our Video Vault page on Newsnet5.com. And we'll tell you some of the stories behind the stories you'll be seeing. And Leon, we're going to bring back a lot of holiday memories. A lot of holiday memories, I'm sure, Tom. We begin this holiday edition with a look back to 1983, when Hollywood came to Cleveland. Our city was the backdrop for the shooting of a feature film with scenes shot downtown and in the Tremont area. It was called A Christmas Story, and it's now considered a holiday classic. Here's what it looked like back then, behind the scenes.
Hello, Willoughby and all of Northern Ohio. What news we have for you? Santa Claus is coming to town. What we're showing you is a live shot of the biggest Christmas movie set ever staged in Ohio, Public Square, downtown Cleveland. The calendar may say this is January 19th, but in movie land, this is still pre-Christmas December. Staff reporter and would-be movie critic Paul Orlowski is somewhere down on that massive movie set right now. Paul, tell us about all this peculiar activity we're looking at.
Well, I've got a great view, Ted. I'm on top of our truck looking at all of this. It looks really nice. They've got diagonal parking just like the 40s and all of that. Public Square in general, and Higbee's in particular, is the scene of a movie. It's called The Christmas Story. It's the story of a little boy back in the 1940s. And a lot of work has gone into making Public Square look like it might have looked back then. Tonight it has lights, a camera way up there, and lots of action on the square. 1982's Christmas lights are down, and 1940's are up. Hundreds of vintage cars and costumes are the backdrop for this film. Everything is perfect, right down to the license plates. Push-button phones are covered by old phone booths. The RTA's colors are hidden by what a bus stop used to look like. Even an old streetcar. This extra is convinced.
Vote Roosevelt, not Dewey. Roosevelt and Truman's the one for us. He'll keep us out of that war.
There's lots of snow, but even Cleveland couldn't produce enough snow. Soap suds fill in the gaps, and the lights are glorious. Higbee's windows show a simpler time, when skates and dollies and a sled were what Santa brought. Not a video game in sight. The cold caused some problems, but not big ones.
Joe.
And for others, an old-fashioned muff did the trick.
Hooray for Hollywood. That's good, we finally Hollywood.
It's not really Hollywood, it's Higbee's department store downtown. But for the next few weeks, it, along with other parts of the Cleveland area, will serve as the backdrop for the filming of A Christmas Story. That's the working title of a movie about a little boy's memories of Christmas back in the 1940s. Film publicist Janice Kay explained why Cleveland was chosen.
We came to Cleveland for a number of reasons. One of them was Higbee's department store. We needed a store that had a 40s look to it, and the production team went to about 20 cities, including Buffalo and Pennsylvania, Chicago, Montreal, and Toronto in Canada, before they found exactly what they were looking for here in Cleveland. So that was one reason. There are some other reasons. One is once we had Higbee's, then we had the Public Square out front for the parade shooting. The flats with the industrial look to them. The ruggedness of Cleveland generally is what the production designer was looking for. And the fact that when we shoot the downtown area, there are very few skyscrapers and modern-looking buildings, and we needed that for the 40s look.
To convert Higbee's into a store of the 40s takes the combined effort of about 100 people. And with their talent in lighting, masking, props, and attention to detail, it is done, and right down to the last detail. All of which is carefully supervised by producer Renee DuPont and director Bob Clark, who, by the way, directed the hit film Porky's. On the average, it takes about 12 hours of production to come up with between 1 and 3 minutes of usable film. We watched for 2 hours as about 10 seconds of film was made, and even that could end up on the cutting room floor. Overall, there's a lot of waiting. All necessary, of course, is every last detail is doubly checked, and hopefully it all pays off in the end when the film is finally completed and released to the public, which should be by Christmas of next year.
Well, most of Cleveland and the Cleveland area is dry and clear tonight. But here in the Tremont area on West 11th Street, look at that winter wonderland across the street. And that was created artificially. Last night, it took them about 12 hours. They used the machines that they use on a ski resort, the Brandywine ski resort to be specific. Now, if you haven't heard by now, they're filming a film that will be released around Christmas time next year here in Cleveland. It's going to be called The Christmas Story, and they're going to try to make it look like a white Christmas. I think they did a pretty good job. Now, pretty soon, they're going to be, after this shoot is done at about 12 o'clock tonight, they're going to be covering the rest of the streets in this area, at least in this corner, in this general area, with the same type of snow. So the forecast for this part of Tremont is continued snow for the rest of the evening. As for the rest of the area, you'll have to get that forecast from Dan Dobrowolski.
Remembering that one, the classic Christmas Story.
And Cleveland, they came here for snow. And there was no snow. January in '83, you had to bring snowmaking equipment to Cleveland. Go
They
figure.
came the wrong year.
They did. You know, it's interesting when the woman talks about that there was part of the reason they picked Cleveland was you guys didn't have a recognizable skyline. Well, hey, that's an insult.
That's an insult. But Hollywood came calling anyway.
And it's become a classic, too.
You know, I love the part about the boy and the BB gun. I always wanted a BB gun. My mother always said, no, you'll put somebody's eye out.
It wasn't your own. You were worried about somebody else's eyes.
That was always the story.
And now I understand you were in the sequel.
I was in the sequel of that movie called A Summer Story, or My Summer Story, and I had a part where I just walked down the street. I did make the editing, although you can't see. I just know it's me by the color of the shirt I was wearing, and I think I got paid $50 for 14 hours of work.
The movie was never released. It was just on videos, I remember.
It went straight to cable,
Wasn't it fun to look at Higbee's? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but that you get to see the inside of Higbee's and have your memories, and now it's the casino.
Oh, yeah. I remember going to Higbee's when I was a kid. I know you do, too. Mom and Dad would drag me down there during the Christmas time. I shouldn't say drag me down there because it was a lot of fun. I was going to see Santa Claus. But it was just a wonderful time. But it's great memories of the Higbee.
I bought this tie at a Higbee sale after
right?
Christmas. I think I spent like $2 for the tie. The last thing about the Christmas Story house that I think was neat was that they didn't use the inside for the movie. And it was an apartment. The person who owned it had chopped it up into 4 apartments. And every time he did work on it, the neighbors always said, don't mess with that porch.
And you can still go over there right now at West 11th and Rowley.
Yeah, off of Clark.
Yeah, it's kind of a museum now.
Very nice for the neighborhood, too.
See the leg lamp right in the window there.
Right.
Okay. A lot of memories there. Yeah. Just a wonderful, wonderful movie. A Christmas Story. Well, coming up in just a bit, we'll show you a vintage Lawson's commercials that hasn't aired in TV in decades. That's right. We'll ride the Big O and get that juice up to Lawson's in 40 hours.
And we'll reminisce about Mr. Jingling, how you tingling, keeper of the keys.
But up next, we'll show you how we used to kick off the holidays in grand style.
With parades, Christmas lights, the Care Bears, and believe it or not, Halle Berry.
And don't forget, you can always see these clips and much more on Tom's Video Vault page at newsnet5.com.
We'll be right back.
See dozens of vintage clips from decades of News Channel 5 programming. Go to newsnet5.com/Cleveland Video Vault 5, presented by 650 Gold.